Hi, Norm with Endeavor Trikes here, and I've been doing videos on a couple of the bikes I build. Usually I try to do one on each model. If you don't know anything about Endeavor Trikes, I'm actually the first guy in the nation who started doing reverse trikes. I'm the only guy in the world, as far as I know, that has a kit that'll do any motorcycle, any large touring motorcycle actually. And I do GL 1800s, 1500s, Yamaha Royal Stars. I've got a Kawasaki 1700 Nomad coming in here next. This is a Harley Police bike. This is kind of a theme bike. About every third bike or fourth bike is a theme bike of some type. I've done military bikes, and this one happens to be for a retired policeman. He actually worked for the in the forensic lab at the police, for the police. So he went and bought this 98 Harley Police bike and asked me to do the conversion for him. So the pinstriping and everything has been added. I added the logos on the gas tank. I had custom logos made. It says Harley Davidson Police 1 and a matching one on the hood. And you know, that's just part of what I do is the total customization. And the owner suggested the way he wanted the pinstriping done, so I followed his lead. And I think he did really well. I think his ideas are very good. And it's quite a nice bike, really. This one has a few things that you know, about every fourth bike I come up with some new ideas. And on this one, what I did is I shortened the front end 2 inches. So the front end just barely sticks past the tires. You can see it's pretty much even with the front tires. What that does is it actually prevents the front end from hitting the pavement if you go over like a speed bump and these things are, you know, I design sport trikes is what I call them, because my own trikes like this, I take them out on the gravel and I take them through stream crossings and stuff like that. And I've got videos on me doing that. And so a little extra clearance in the front really helps. And so on this one, I shortened the front end. The other thing I did on this one that's kind of different, and you can't see it here, but with the shocks mount right here, that bracket actually slides in and out. So I can custom tailor the ride height, and I can use different shocks. I can change the shock angle and really customize the ride. And one thing I'm doing on these bikes, and this is the first of the series, is I'm raising the front end off the ground. This one has about 6 inches of clearance. Some of my early bikes only had 4 inches, and I went to 5. This one's up to 6. And I think that's where I'm gonna probably level off, and should work out really good. The fairing was kind of scratched up on this one, so we took the fairing, repainted it, and clear coated it, and I do everything but the paint. I've got a professional that does the paint for me, and he's just excellent. I don't know what I'd do without the guy, but as you can see, he does really good work. And the owner here picked out chrome rims on this one, and as with all the trikes I build, everything that's I can possibly powder coat, I do. The other thing I do is, if you notice with the front end, it's an open design. I don't have the storage tray in this one. There's a storage bin that goes in here, and I'll show you that cavity in here in a second. But I really focus on air and how to manipulate the air. So on this one, it cools the engine, plus it reduces drag. I use the smallest tires I can possibly put on here. You see some of the competition started building these, and they're putting 17 and 18 inch low profile tires in the front, and really that I don't see how that's going to work. The scrub radius kind of wanders all over the place, and the bike follows suit and wanders all over the place. So the real key is to keep these tires small, keep the wind resistance down, so you don't end up with a high pressure area in the front of the center of gravity. You want it as close to the center of gravity as possible. And so I really focus on that. This one actually even has some little fins here that protrude, and there's a little bend in that. And that actually will redirect the air to the back cylinder. And that's the focus there. And it's on both sides like that. There is a 14-inch fan in here. And in fact, if I turn on the key, you'll hear it. And it does blow air back here. Pretty healthy breeze going back there now. And directly in front of that fan is a 6x10 oil cooler. So I added oil cooler to this bike, and it's got the fan in there. There's no reason this bike would ever get warm. And like I say, I really focus on that. The lighting is kind of neat. It's got, you know, standard headlight, and it's got the spots down below, which come on with the ignition, but there's also a toggle switch here. So I can bring up the side lighting, and it's those lights are alternating amber and white. And in the front, it's got the halos, which are amber. So there's you know, quite a bit of lighting, which is actually kind of customizable too. And I'm going to open up the cover here so you can see how that's done. You have to forgive the video flying all over here. Kind of doing this one-handed. So you can see there's a terminal block there, and there's actually 2 circuits there. So the owner can kind of just alternate wires around, and if he wants just amber lights on, he can do that. If he wants just white on the side, he can do that. You get a pretty good look at a little strip lighting there. And you know, so the whole thing can be customized. There'll be a tray that sits inside of this, which is for storage. I haven't built that yet. When I build it, what I do is I powder coat them so they're nice and black and rust proofed. And then I truck bed liner the outside. I leave the inside powder coated so it's nice and clean looking. But other than that, you know, this one is done. I got to take it out for a test drive, put the storage tray in there, and I got a bumper that goes on the front. But other than that, this one's completely finished. And I'm going to call the owner tonight and tell him to make arrangements to either have it shipped out or come get it, whichever you know, he wants to do. But this was a pretty nice project. This one also does have reverse on it. I should mention that. MMD makes this reverse unit here. It's very well engineered. I was very pleased with the craftsmanship, and the instructions were real good. It's a complete paint to install them. You have to rip all the exhaust off, and you know, there's some machining that has to be done. That's part of the deal, and then a bunch of wiring, so it's got an interlock, so you can't put it in reverse while it's in gear. The engine will kill right away. The engine, it has to be in neutral before you put it in reverse, and if you happen to have it in reverse and put it in gear, the engine just kills. So it's a real safety feature that they built into that, and like I say, they've done a really good job. And next time I'll know. It's a lot of work. But, you know, the first one's always kind of tough. But I'm glad to see this one done. I'm glad it worked out the way it is. I'm actually going to have the police department come down, and we're going to do a little photo shoot with the policeman. And I think that's going to make a nice portrait. And, you know, we'll kind of keep you up to speed on what's next here. I think I've got a Kawasaki Nomad coming in next, to 1700. So that one will be the first Nomad I've done, and I think this bike is about the 33rd or 34th bike I've done. And like I say, I've done pretty much every model of large bike. I've got a couple Valkyries coming in. I've done Valkyries, Victory Kingpins, and I'm working on right now on a Vision. And I've got people interested in having my my kit put on their BMWs. So, like I say, it's a universal kit, but they are also custom. And you know, I do everything I can to satisfy the owner and give them what they expect. And hopefully, this owner will be pleased. All right, nice bike all the way around, I think. All right, that's it. See ya.